What happens when your body becomes the only part of you brave enough to say no? Today's guest, Natasha Wallstra, spent years suffering from debilitating migraines, like up to 28 days a month. And at first it looked like a medical mystery, but when she really looked under the surface, she found that she had been suffering from chronic stress and anxiety, and that was driving her health issues. And as she's really poured into herself, and we're going to get into this conversation, I totally relate. We were talking about how listening to our bodies is probably one of the best skill set we could ever develop. And that's how I felt with my MS and this diagnosis of these last few years. I was talking to Scott last night, and I was telling him I was talking to him about this podcast conference that I'm going to go to. Super cool. It's in the DFW area. And I was like, oh, I so wish that I could go all day, because there's so many good like events and networking and all the things. And then he looks at me like, he's like, do you know what? I think if you had not, your pre-MS self would not be here, having a top ranked podcast, not be here listening to your body and helping others to listen to themselves too, not be here helping people with human design. You would have still had your career in marketing and market research because you were servicing Fortune 500 clients, doing a really good job, and you would have just gone with the money in that way, and you wouldn't have taken a chance on yourself because you had to take a chance on yourself. And I realized, I was like, okay, thanks. Thanks for the pep talk. You know what? And I realized that my power is really in listening to my body. And especially as a projector, those ebbs and flows of energy, just like other human design types have, is really a superpower, and it is a strength. And I can stop seeing it as a weakness. Now, I can't wait for you to get to know Natasha, because she's also a projector. So for all of you that have ebbs and flows of energy, manifestors, reflectors, all of us are in the same boat. This is a really great conversation. Before we jump into it, we're going to do a peace investment, a 2-minute reset to allow your body to feel the messages through this podcast, but also just to take a break, right? I teach my clients all the time. I'm like, 2-minute resets is what you need throughout the day. And this can bring in beautiful power and peace into your body, into your soul. So we're going to take 2 minutes, okay? Don't skip over this part. This is the most important thing. So if you're in a place where you're sitting down, I want you to close down your eyes. Or if you're walking or driving, that's totally fine too. I want you to just take this in. And we're going to take a deep breath inhale. And as you exhale, I want you to exhale through your nose, and I want you to feel what the air feels like as it's coming out of your nose. Really focus in on that area. Inhaling peace. Exhaling any bit of pressure that you're feeling throughout your body. Inhale. Exhale. Now, if you can, I want you to rub your palms together, and I want you to focus in on what your hands feel like. And now you can release your hands and put them comfortably at your side or wherever's best for you. I want you to look at something, really look at something intently. And I want you to notice the color of that thing. Notice the texture. Notice the different patterns it has. And then when you're ready, you can soften your gaze. I want you to recall something that you're proud of yourself for doing. It can be little, it can be big, it can be getting out of bed, taking a walk, getting a new client, tripling your revenue, whatever it is. Sometimes we think it has to be something so big, but honestly, the little things are the most important because they lead to the bigger things. Think of that thing that you're proud of yourself for doing. Let it fill your whole entire body, top to bottom. I want you to take one more deep breath. And if you have closed your eyes, you can open your eyes and come back to this space. Good job. Do you feel that peace just circulating through your body now even more than it was before? Investing in peace is everything. So, way to go. Good job. I'm proud of you for doing that. I cannot wait to share this episode with you. It is so good. Natasha Wallstra is the founder of Near Point Strategies, where she helps entrepreneurs, tech and sales leaders transform their LinkedIn presence into revenue engine through strategic personal branding and relationship-driven social selling. She is big on LinkedIn. And she is creating waves over there in the way that feels authentic and feels fresh. And so you must go follow her. All her links are in the show notes, by the way, but make sure you connect with her. She's amazing. And she has had experience in companies with her global experience with Carbon and Forbes book. And she's developed an approach that helps even the most hesitant professionals build authentic connections that drive business growth. Okay, can't wait to see you inside the episode. Natasha, thank you so much for being on the show today. I'm so excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here, Courtney. Thanks for having me.
This is so great. Well, can you walk us into what life looked like at your worst when the migraines were constant?
Yeah, of course. So, gosh, it feels like forever ago, but it actually wasn't that long ago. It was about 2.5 years ago was probably like my lowest point, and that was 2.5 years into it. So it was about 5 years total with chronic migraines. And at this point, though, the way I looked at it was, and I don't know if I'm really explaining this quite right, but like I have this like migraine bucket and of things that like there's a lot of triggers, there's a lot of stuff that could cause it, but I never really know. And sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. And it's because my bucket is like either really full and one thing will be that the drop that makes it whatever it is, like overflow, right? And so that's kind of like how it was. And so my bucket was so full that any little thing would cause a migraine. So I was literally at 28, 29 days a month with a headache. I mean, it was so brutal and very, really challenging time for me, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah. My goodness, that is awful. And migraines are so debilitating. Did you like have to stop living basically? Because I mean, how did you even do that?
I mean, like I said, I used to say I was a functioning migrainer. So I did really well operating at this like weird state where I wasn't engaged very well. Like I did what I could to survive, basically. So it was like bare minimum, which I think still for me was high, like a lot, but it wasn't like I was on complete autopilot and just like hoping I could get through every single day, because at some point you can't just, I couldn't not do anything either. Like I needed to make money. I had a mortgage. Like I had to figure this out. So I just would coast on through basically. And it was, you see me smiling a lot already right now, right? I wasn't smiling for a while, right? Like I literally just couldn't I had no other energy except to like survive.
Wow. And how did you figure out what was going on? Like, because I think that's a process with lots of people that have health challenges. It's like they feel these symptoms, or migraines and trying to get to the bottom of things and trying to get to the other side. How did you figure out what was at the root of it?
Well, it took a long time.
Yeah.
And a lot of twists and turns, because I initially was seeing my neurologist, and I still, of course,
Yes.
do see a neurologist, but I depended initially on just what the doctors were saying to me. But it was when my former neurologist said to me, he says, be adventurous, take a higher dose. And it was a medicine that I was already like maxed out on. And I was like, be adventurous. Like, what do you mean? Like I'm pumping on a medicine that's making me feel funky. Like it gave me like flu-like symptoms kind of. And I was like, this just doesn't make sense. Like there's gotta be something else. And silly me thinking I should trust doctors, right? It's horrible to say that, but like they don't know how they answer to everything, especially their world and their way of doing things. And so it sparked my journey of I mean, it really actually sparked my journey of spirituality and self-awareness, because I was like, I need to figure out like what else there is, that the holistic route, which a lot of it meant looking inwards. And it was funny, the bridge for that for me was actually a book called Breath by James Nestor. I'm not sure if you've heard of it.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's a journalist that wrote about like why it's important to breathe, which like, duh, I suppose. But I never actually understood just how important, and how I was sitting at my computer with email apnea. Like I wasn't breathing all day. And so just by starting to focus on my breath, opened the doors on everything else going that route. So yeah, I ended up looking through that, but also of course doing acupuncture, chiropractor. I did hypnotherapy. I did the medicinal herbal route, let's say, with psilocybin, ayahuasca. I mean, I literally went down lots of rabbit holes.
Yeah. And I think that, well, and with my health journey too, with MS, I have felt like at the beginning, I was like too scared to make what I felt like my own decisions, if that makes sense, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, and I hadn't seen a doctor in like 10 years. So I was like, oh, okay. And I decided that at the beginning, I was like, I could either go see a ton of specialists, right? Or I could really like take some time and feel what was right for me. And that's a marrying of medicine and my own stuff, you know, and
Yeah.
holistic things as well. And it just really helped me to feel like I get to make these decisions for my own health instead of just looking at, you know, what everybody else is doing or what other authority figures are saying to do. You know, I get to take a front seat in my own health journey, and sometimes that's a blend of different things in
Yep.
different ways, and sometimes it is all one way or one other way, but it's really this blend of things. And so when you were looking inward, what emotions did you see during this time?
Well, I was in a state of anxiety,
Hmm.
basically. I was constantly like in this fight and flight mode. And to this day, like I am in a much better place now. But anytime I find myself like feeling anxious or feeling stressed, I think anxious is the biggest one.
Yeah.
I know that I'm like that fills up my bucket so much that like any little thing will get me into a headache state again. So yeah, I mean, in that time, like really, it's anxiety. I know, and I realized afterwards, like there was a trauma that happened that kind of kicked this off, where I was in a state of fight and flight for about 6 months, and that I just never left that, is what I realize now. I didn't know during that time that I was like sitting there like constantly. I wasn't breathing. I was in like a bad place, that like I never, even though the like situation calmed down, let's say, I never recovered from that or healed from that time and being in that state for so long. And that's when the migraine started to get much and much worse.
Yeah. Do you feel like it was a lot of like overworking or perfectionism or trying to control circumstances? Do you feel like that was kind of driving things?
Yeah, controlling circumstances. Again, it was a family trauma that like everybody got involved with, and I was the one that was able to. I'm kind of the rock of my family, and so everybody was depending on me to like get us through this. And so yeah, I was controlling, but also knowing that there was that pressure of like I'm the one that's keeping this all together right now. Plus, COVID had just hit soon after, and like it was a combination of all these things. I would say that like I had to keep it together so that everybody else could. And I forgot to completely take care of myself.
Yes, and that really, especially in your human design chart, that makes perfect
Yep.
sense. It's just like right on point. And I guess so we're all on the same page, listeners and everybody. The human design is like an energetic blueprint. It's like a personality test, kind of like Enneagram, Strength Finders. It's just another one. But what I love about it is it's only based on our time, date, and place of birth. And so, because it's a fact, right, where we were born, the time, our brains tend to say, okay, this is kind of cool. I can resonate with this. I am not trying to find loopholes in the gifts that I was born with, which is oftentimes as human beings what we do, right? We're like, I did that one cool thing, but maybe I'm not really cool, or, you know, like, or we try and like, um, just second guess ourselves in lots of different ways. But this takes the second guessing out of it. So we always start in human design with your type. And so you are a projector. And Projector, the mantra is this, I am a guide with wisdom. And you have this built-in internal wisdom within your soul. And you're able to build and lead through insight, not necessarily overworking or all the action parts of it. You're this wise guide, and you're not here to hustle, but you're here to lead. And leading is a different kind of energy, right? It's not that doing energy, it's the leading, it's the showing people the vision of where you're going. And you have this also great gift of strategy. So if when your clients come to you and they're like, hey, this is what I see, um, you're like, okay, I can solve that by doing this strategy of X, Y, and Z. And it's not going to be the whole alphabet, right? It's just going to be those few things that really dial in and move the needle forward. And so have you seen this knack for seeing the most efficient path forward in your career?
Yeah, I'm smiling because I'm like, well, that explains my entire program I've created. I'm like, well, not like, because it's so interesting, especially this idea of like, I'm a guide with wisdom, like that internal wisdom. Like, my program that I've created, and I do LinkedIn strategy, and I help business owners with personal branding, content, and social selling. But the program I've created wasn't, obviously, it's not something I just did right now. I've been doing it for 10 years as a salesperson, and everything I've done has just been through intuition and by figuring it out and learning and then seeing things and patterns that people didn't see. And I built this whole system, on my own, basically. Like, I've never taken a LinkedIn course before, you know what I mean? So it's been interesting now as like more people are doing LinkedIn to see like I actually do have a system, and it's very unique because I had no like external guides to help me with it. I did it. But in regards to with my clients, like everybody has unique situations and circumstances and goals, and I help them reach those goals based off of what it is that they're trying to do, right? But it's not, yes, there's pattern matching, but it's all individual. And I haven't niched down. Like, I think what I offer is relatively niche, that like I serve all types of people, all different businesses, all industries, because it's all easy for me to understand and see for them.
And it's like a pattern. It's like a pattern
Mhm.
and a process that you vetted and that works over and over and over again and can be duplicatable. And plus, the cool thing about projectors is we try and keep things easy,
Yeah.
like,
It's as simple as possible. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And the simple is the only way to do it. And I think with my role in the personal development field, especially with human design and other tools that I bring to my clients, I'm like, we take what's complex and make it simple. And when people actually make changes, whether it's personally or professionally, they need simple. And that's what we're really good at. Now, the reason we kind of make things simple is not only the strategy gift, and is also this because our energy, and I'm a projector too, I don't know if I told everybody that, but is our energy comes in ebbs and flows,
Mhm.
it's up and it's down, it's here and it's there and it's gone, it's not always steady, it's not always a steady gift. So now that can lead to a lot of frustration. It
Mm.
can lead to a lot of judgment. I find myself, because I have pockets throughout the day where I rest. I take a nap every day, but I find inside of my brain, I'm like, oh, why do you need this, girl? What's wrong with you? That type of thing. But have you noticed these ebbs and flows of energy? And have you noticed these ups and downs of energy?
Yeah, it's funny you say that because oftentimes, like, yes, 100%. Like,
Yes.
there's moments where I'm like all in and I'm like in the zone, and I can't, and I got the coolest things coming out of me. You know what I mean? And it's funny when that happens, when I'm out and about. My husband and I was like, have you been waiting to say this for a long time? Because we were driving, and I was like in a moment, I like was building a whole system in my head, as I do. And he's like, what do you think about? I was like, well, this, that, and that. And he's like, oh, so you're remote working. And I'm like, well, yes, I am. I am. And that's what happens. Like, I'll be in that, and I'm like literally building out the whole system in my head right now that I just go back and I can like put it together and stuff. But sometimes I'm also like incapable of thinking. So
Yes.
extreme. Yeah.
Yeah, it's two extremes. And I think, yeah, it's totally right on. It's two extremes because I feel the same way. Sometimes I'm like in the zone, we're getting things done. And then I get to my incapable of thinking part of the day, and I'm like, we are tapped out, lady.
Yep.
We either need some caffeine or we need to rest,
Yes. Yep.
We need to change courses. Well, and the strategy for projectors to really lean into is to share what you're doing, network and share. That is how you make things happen. It's so simple. A lot of times we get so cluttered in our brain about like, how do sales happen? How do like things happen? But for projectors, it's networking and talking to people, sharing what you're doing, sharing all those things. And then the right people will come into your and be like, wait a second, Natasha, tell me more. And then that will develop its own pattern.
I literally did a post on that today.
Shut
On
up.
LinkedIn. I kid you not. No, seriously, because I was saying made I made quite a bit of money before I even launched my business by having conversations, by talking to people. Like that is what I was doing as part of like the framework that I did, and I was sharing that in there. But for me, it was like I literally was like, I have this idea, I have an offer, let me start talking to people about it. And I closed like 2 deals on a call. I wasn't trying to pitch them, but it was just having this conversation, socializing the idea, and then business happened. And so that's a big part of what I teach my clients to do, because most, I guess I didn't realize this, like don't know how to do that, or don't know how to do it like genuinely, because that is the key to all this, is like I am really just trying to build relationships and nurture my relationships, and then opportunities come about. I remember in those first few months, like I'd be on a call and I'm like sitting there tapping my toes, 'cause I'm like, I cannot believe this just happened. Like I can't believe I just met you. You know what I mean?
Yes. And that's exactly right. It's just going with that intuitive, like building relationships, having authentic conversations, and showing the work that you're doing.
Mhm.
That's the other piece. Is sometimes as projectors, we're like, okay, we're going to let other people shine, or not show and share as much as we're doing. And that's the other piece, is like really be confident, I guess, and speak the awesome things that you're doing, Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that too, because this is almost 2 years ago that I started my business, and I'm posting about it today because it's taking me that long to want to be able to share something like this, because I'm so nervous about sharing my own results that it just doesn't feel comfortable. And so I'm like, finally like, okay, I know I need to, because I'm doing a disservice to my program because I'm showing how well it works, you know?
Yes. Yeah,
It's like,
totally. And that I
yeah.
know it's like okay, and it's going to come off because your voice is authentic and you're a real like nice human being. It's always going to come off in that way, with your voice. And that's the other cool thing on your human design chart. There's this part that's called inner authority, and inner authority is how you make decisions best. And yours is self-projected. I have the same inner authority too, so it's kind of
Oh,
cool.
wow.
And the mantra is for this is my truth reveals itself as I speak it. So
Mm.
you gain clarity through your voice. It's not through logic or emotion. It's the right words unlock the right knowing. So when you are talking to someone that you trust and you're telling them, hey, about a decision you're going to make, instead of those like kind of like chaotic feelings, maybe it becomes a straight line. It becomes known to you what you should do, not through them saying, hey, this is what I think you should do, but just through your speaking it. So even like voice messaging yourself, or talking it out with someone that you trust, that reality and truth comes to the surface. Now, this, of course, takes utilizing your voice and stepping into vocalizing your needs and your thoughts and all the things. Has it been hard for you to trust your voice through your journey?
Gosh, these are such great questions, and like timing for everything, because it was like 4 or 5 months ago, and this is something I'm actually still kind of working through right now. I realize now that I'm out of it. I was definitely experiencing postpartum anxiety. My son's almost 9 months, so I was kind of in the thick of it, like 3 to 6 months or so. During that time, I was super anxious. I lost a lot of confidence, and I just like had this wave of imposter syndrome hit me. And I didn't know, again, I'm sure it was the raging hormones on top of it that like made that feel like I was spiraling, which I did. So
Yeah.
in that moment, I was like completely lost. And my husband, we were walking, and he asked me, he's like, how did you do it last year? Because I built my business really quickly. I did the thing, and I was like, oh, duh, like, why am I not doing what I teach my clients to do, and like what I do best, business development? Like, this is literally what I help people with. And I like completely forgot about it. And I just like lost all this confidence. So interestingly enough, I hired a coach, and who's in the space, who's where I want to be, someone I've been following for a long time. And I thought maybe I was missing, because she does more of this like colder outreach or more stuff that like I actually don't do. And there's a reason I don't do all that, because I just don't feel comfortable with it. I don't like it. There's other ways of doing things. But anyways, talking through what I do and then hearing what she was doing, I'm like, oh yeah, this is the reason why I do the things I do. And it gave me the confidence that I was on the right track with my system. And it like totally, it was reassuring. So I'm like, yeah, this is really great what I have. And actually like, I am like really feeling good about the direction I went in, in comparison to what other people do.
Yes. And I think that's a huge part of the journey, is to sometimes put on blinders to what other people are doing, that what they're doing is not necessarily going to fit us
Mhm.
and individually, and leaning into, okay, does this feel good? I mean, there's, of course, we're going to push ourselves out of our comfort zone,
Yeah.
there's that feeling, but there's this different feeling of, this doesn't feel authentically me. Do you know?
Yeah.
And that's the kind of the line we want to look at and be like, wait a second. Well, this, if someone else is doing it and they've had a lot of success, doesn't mean it's necessarily going to work for me as well, you know? And I guess, have you, like, with that, have you been able to put on those blinders and kind of like, because you've made this LinkedIn process that is very successful, and you've helped lots of industry partners. Like, have you, as you made this, did you have to kind of put on blinders to what everybody else was doing?
I don't think I intentionally did that. I just was like,
Yes.
this is working the way I'm doing
Yeah.
it, and it's what feels good. Like that's the whole point with the system. Because the reason I figured this out was because I was in a position where I had to cold call, smile and dial $100 a day, and like the energy it took, and then like the pain it like made me feel.
Oh,
I'm like, I can't do this. I'm like, plus who wants to receive this? So I created a system that's like more in line with like how I would like to interact with people. And that's, through actually having conversations and building real relationships. Right. And so I was just so focused on doing the thing that I've been doing. I obviously pay attention to like best practices out there and trends and that sort of thing. But for the most part, like I never took, like I said, I never did any other courses or anything. I'd peruse it to see if there's something I'm missing. I'm like, nah, I got all this.
yes. Yeah, totally.
Truthfully, yeah. I mean, it wasn't until recently where I was like, okay, maybe I am missing doing this
Yes.
type of stuff. And I'm like, I'm not.
You're not. And to have the confidence to be like, you know what? I don't need to do it like that.
Yeah.
I can do it this way, and it's been successful, and I can lean into that. And I think with your inner authority, the strategy here too is really to find other moments where you can use your voice messaging clients, doing podcasts, like, and this is one of the reasons I started my podcast, is because I came into coaching and my business, and I was like, wait, I'm supposed to have the gift of communication and supposed to be able to speak things. And I was like, I don't think so. But then I had this idea that, what if I play with this gift? What if I play around and see how this gift feels? And I think with personal development, and we take things so seriously, uh, one of my clients was like, oh, I fell into the overworking again. And I was like, well, yeah, because you love your job and you're human. I mean, okay, don't need to beat yourself
Oops.
up for that, but let's not add that layer. But it's like, it's just recognizing that we can play around with these gifts, and we don't have to be so serious about what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
So now, also, kind of going along with when we're looking at the body graph part on your chart, there's like white centers and there's green centers. Okay. Now, the green centers are going to be gifts that you have all the time. So you have a gift of communication. You have this internal GPS of, where you're going, how to get there. Now, those gifts are always on. And so you can always lean into those and be like, okay, I know I can speak. I know if I'm making, like a pivot or something, a direction change, I know I can trust my inner knowing to know, just like a GPS, it knows where it's going. I just need to listen.
Yeah.
But you also have a bunch of white open centers. Now, the white open centers means those gifts come in ebbs and flows. So, like your energy, it's coming up and down. But it also means you have a deep connection with other people. So, you're going to two of your white open centers are your emotional center and your intuition center. And they're, if you're looking on the chart, they're kind of halfway down opposite sides of each other. And what the beautiful gift of this is that you have this double empathy, this real ability to connect with other people, with their emotions, with their anxiety, their stress, their fears that they're feeling. You're going to get their hits just like they get their hits. And so that is a sensitivity that is a superpower. Oftentimes we think of sensitivities as like, we got to go, 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 or do, do, do type of things. But listening, it not just with your ears, but with your body is a sensitivity. You can feel their energy. You can feel their connection. You can feel all of this. And so how have you seen this in your business as a superpower?
Yeah, well, it's like I was saying, I guess, with each of my clients, like they all have different goals, different needs, different situations, starting points where they are in their business. And I can relate to all of that and easily, like when I've been through it, but also I can see and I can connect with them. I can see where they're feeling the anxiety and even predict. Like I had a client call just before us and I could see where I think he was having some issues with stuff. And so he came on and I was like, oh, actually, he had a couple questions. And I was like, actually, I wanted to talk just about that. And I have something for you. He's like, oh my God, this is so good. So I was like able to preemptively like figure out just by looking at a couple of things, like this is what he needed to feel better. Cause I could tell there was like, just like signs of anxiety, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, I do that all the time with my clients. I'm able to really understand what they're going through.
Yeah. And you can really read the room, without having it to be spoken, without having to have this, like you can really feel into that. And so that's what I think is the beauty of all these white centers. And you have a lot of open white centers. I do too. So it's like we can see and feel all the information that's coming to us and really honor that. Now, at the same time, being highly empathetic comes with taking on their stuff,
Yeah.
right? And I used to have such a hard time. Well, I still, it's always a struggle, right? It's like I take on their stuff, and because I care, I tend to hold on to their stuff, Like, have you noticed this too as patterns in your life?
Yeah, two examples recently from a client who she gave this testimonial. It was the sweetest thing ever. And she was saying how she was talking with her attorney, how the attorney said to her, no one cares as much about your business, Janelle, as you do. And then she's like, but that's not true with you, saying that I care about her business just as much as she does. And she's like, it's made me be a better business owner because of how much you care about my stuff. I was like, well, that's amazing. Like, what a great thing to say. So yeah, that like totally hit home. But also, I mean, this family trauma I was talking about, the reason why I got the migraines is because I was feeling everybody else's trauma and I was taking it all in and I couldn't let go of it. Like it was my way of, yeah, it's the cause of all the migraines, honestly. So yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like feeling like those feelings are your responsibility too, and other people's feelings are just information, not a responsibility, and we can take that information, we can help and support and help them and stuff like that, but holding on to those creates this like heavy backpack situation, we're just adding to this weight of the backpack, and that does create those emotions, create physical signs, physical things happen when we hang on to energies that are not ours for longer than we need,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
so the strategy really here is to really look at clearing out what's not yours and to being aware of, oh, this was good information, but now I can release that. So, do you have practices that help you to release other people's emotions, or I guess take care of yourself?
Yeah. It took me a long time to figure that out. And I think
Yes.
setting boundaries, I don't know if that's a practice, but that is like, it was the hardest thing for me to do, especially with my family, but that's what I needed to do, even meaning creating some distance in order to be a little bit more removed from things because it was so hard. And I'm a yes person. I will do anything for my families. Like anyone I care about, I'll do anything for. And I stopped taking care of myself. And so having boundaries was something that I never understood. And I realize now that that's actually a really good thing, because then I can show up in a better way when I'm able and ready to. So I think that's been like the biggest and most challenging thing.
Yes, yeah, like having those boundaries and really too, like I found that when I'm feeling heaviness, that I can look to, okay, what am I doing for myself personally? You know, am I taking walks outside? Am I breathing? That
Yeah.
is like,
I had to set alarms on my phone throughout the day,
for what?
literally titled breath, so I'd remember to breathe. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and I think that is like, and this is what I teach my clients all the time in the system that I use. And I'm like, every few hours, I want you to take a break and we're going to do a somatic reset, or we're going to notice what's interfering with your peace and your happiness. And a lot of times it's that people pleasing, or it's that overworking, or it's that controlling or perfectionism. And then it allows us to like lean into our human design and our gifts and find that joy and happiness because you know, this journey through being a female founder should be fun. It
Yeah.
should be enjoyable. We should love it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's going to be points where, like, oh gosh, like me answering emails. I'm like, oh, do I have to? But I guess I do. You know, be responsible. But
Yeah.
like, it should, for the most part, be not pressure, but peace driving
Mhm.
that. You know.
Yeah.
So, so what else do you do? I guess throughout the day, like to infuse that peace in your life? Or what have you done that has really well helped you?
So yeah, breathing for sure. I work out in the mornings now, and like it's not very long. It's about 35 minutes, but it's consistent 35 minutes. And that's been a great way to like set my morning. And even when if I feel that pressure, that like if I didn't sleep well, even this happened yesterday morning, I was going through something and I'm like, I'm still going to work out, even though it might not be as hard. I'm like, it's going to help me clear my mind and be a little bit more. So that's been a huge part. And I kind of stopped doing that for a while when I was pregnant. And then afterwards, like I forgot how important that was in my day. And so that was during that time that I was struggling a couple months back that I finally am like, I need to get this in the morning and do it every single day, because it makes such a huge impact on the rest of my day and my energy. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think there's always like, I do the same thing. I work out, I do yoga, and those are like precious kind of sacred times for me, you know? And
Mhm.
even though there's always more work to be done, or like kids, you know, that type of thing, there's always someone who needs something that I'm like, if I'm going to be able to show up in the way that feels good to me, I need to do these things. They're a need. They're not just
Yeah.
a want. They're not just if it fits in the schedule.
Yeah.
It's like this has to happen, and that ability to normalize what we need, I think is a huge thing. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's funny you say that actually, because when you put it like that, it's like it's a need. It's and it then doesn't even become like self-care. It's literally something that you have to do. Like it's
Yes.
an non-negotiable. You know what I mean? And so I don't even know. Like it's almost like self-care might be going to the spa for some, and maybe for you
Yes.
that's actually a need too. Like there's I don't know. I just it's interesting to think about it that way, because like we put it in this category of self-care. Oh, I'll take care. Once a month I'll do my
Yes.
self-care day. It's like no, that's not how that should work, right?
Yes. And that's what I think too. I know I want to rebrand the whole self-care thing because I feel like it's
Yeah.
kind of overused, but it's also like, again, it's a need. Like,
Yeah.
listen to our bodies. I mean, what are we, robots? You know, come on. So, yeah, I love that.
Actually,
Oh, go ahead.
oh, sorry. No, it just reminds me actually, because I don't do gym classes now, but it was a couple years ago. I was at one, and the instructor was like, "Your body knows what it needs. Listen to it." And I was like, "Yeah, like we kind of do know what we need. We just don't listen to it."
Yes, totally. Yeah, exactly. Well, and then our bodies try to send us signals like with migraines or with me, it's like I start to get numbness in my fingers and
Mm,
toes and my brain gets so foggy. And then I have to just it's like, hey, you haven't been paying attention. I'm gonna make you pay attention. Get it together, you know? And but it also doesn't feel good when it gets to that point. I'm like,
right.
okay, I should just listen. Let's try
Yeah.
that again, you know?
Right.
So one more part on your human design chart that just stood out to me is when we're looking at that body graph part, there's all these lines that are either big lines that are considered channels or smaller lines that are considered gates. Now, both of them are the same thing. They're gifts that you were born with, characteristics that you have. And the one that stood out to me was gate 60. And the mantra for this is I remove roadblocks and keep moving forward. So you have this low tolerance for stagnation. You were going to crush through mountains, boulders, whatever in your path. You're going to be like, we're going to move these obstacles. Just watch me. I'm like, nothing's going to stand in your way. This desire can back you up. And what's really cool about this and knowing this is that you're wired this way is when things come to us, especially in the entrepreneur journey, there's ups and downs, things go sideways, things go great, but when there's roadblocks, just know that you're going to have the capacity to get through that. You're going to have the capacity to get on the other side. And just even knowing that hopeful piece of it is just really grounding and really supportive to your journey. So, have you noticed this strong drive to push through blocks?
Yeah, I mean, what just happened recently with this postpartum, like I was going crazy because I'm like, I can't see the thing that I need to right now, and I know it's there, but I've never been stuck like that,
Yeah.
and the brain fog has been really bad. So like that, it's been like driving me nuts. So I've had to like completely change my systems in order to one get past the brain fog part, and like because I can't remember anything these days, but specifically in that time, yeah, I mean, it was really hard, but I then once I like snapped out of it from that question from my husband, these last 2 months have been the best months of my business, and it's like completely 180 and fast, right? And it's just by like realizing like, oh yeah, I am like totally got this, I even remember saying it was like 3 weeks after that moment, and I was like, okay, I just got to do the thing. I looked at my husband, I was like, you know what? I'm kind of proud of myself right now. And I've never said that before. And he's like, well, I always say I'm proud of you. I'm like, I know you do, but I've never said I'm proud of you. I was like, I've never felt that way, but I was like, I did it. Like I got through this, I'm getting through it at that time. Yeah.
Yeah, it is so funny. So my mastermind, I asked people this. I was like, I want you to come off mute and tell me one thing you're proud of yourself for doing. And that question just resulted in this beautiful answers. It was big, it was small, whatever it was. It wasn't about the thing. It was about saying, you know what, I am proud of myself for doing this thing. That energy of that question and that thought is life-changing,
Yeah.
And I think we should do more of that. I think we should be like, you know what am I proud of myself for doing today? And sometimes it's getting out of bed, that is, I'm always proud of myself for that. But like, there's other things that we get to take time to celebrate ourselves and celebrate how proud we are of normalize that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it felt uncomfortable saying it, honestly, but I was like, I'm really glad I did. Because I'm like, I do feel actually proud. Like, this is what that feels like.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally, totally. I love that. Well, and the strategy for this part of your chart is to like normalize this resistance, right? Normalize that you're built to handle this pressure in different areas. Of course, you want to make sure you're pouring into yourself and taking care of yourself. But when that big challenge comes to you, you don't have to shrink. You and be scared that it'll go sideways. And maybe there'll be some routes that will twist and turn, of course. But just know that on the other side of that is strength, is your purpose, is your intention that you're going to really bring to this problem. You're going to be able to back it up. And the cool thing about all these gifts is you can give these to your clients too.
Yeah.
You're going to be like, oh, wait, I see this roadblock for you. Let me help you through it because that's what I'm good at. So, oh my gosh. Okay, Natasha, this has been so amazing. Your chart is full of gifts. This has been such a great conversation. Oh, I just thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh, thank you for having. This has been wonderful. I'm like so curious to learn more about human design now too. I've something I've like I hear about, but I've never dabbled in, and I've kind of been intimidated by it. But you just like confirmed a lot of things that it's like, well, how did you know that?
I know. It's kind of creepy. It's so crazy. And I've read like people's charts all over the world and it hits every single time. It doesn't matter if they were like in the country in Europe or
Yeah.
they're in a big city in New York. It's all the same. And I'm just like, man, this is so cool. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
totally.
yes.
And it explains also why, like, when we connect, I was like, dude, she's really cool. I'm like, yeah, we're similar. So
Yes.
that's awesome.
We totally are. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Well, Natasha, how do people connect with you? Because I know they're jumping on LinkedIn. If they haven't already, they need to. How do they get connected best with you?
Yeah, I appreciate that. So LinkedIn, of course, is the best way. There's my website as well. It's www.nearpointstrategies.com. And then I have a newsletter. And that's actually, it's been really fun for me because I've been reflecting on it recently. I started about 4 months ago. These systems and the things that I've talked about, I've actually never articulated it in like real frameworks and systems. And so the newsletters actually helped me do that in a really cool way, that I never know, like that inner wisdom you're talking about. Like it's there. I just never put it into like a framework, And so I've been having a lot of fun with my newsletter. So yeah, please subscribe.
Yes, totally. And we'll have those in the show notes. And because I think navigating all these things with help and with your expertise is so important, and coming together. And I always feel like every connection I make is so harmonic.
Hmm.
So I just am really grateful for you. So, and the audience, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been so special. If you can just take a moment to subscribe and to rate the show, it helps these messages be shared even more. And pull your human design chart from my site, and you'll get some deeper insights into what is so special about you, what gifts you bring to the world, so that peace can be your strategy, and you can release that pressure to be more, because you already are. We'll see you inside the next episode.